All right, what's up, fellas? Time for Wake Up Mintzy, 4 p.m. Still making some sense of it. Still drinking my Stella Blue iced coffee. Got my dude wipes. We're going to jump right into it because the college baseball NCAA tourney this weekend was one of the wildest I've literally ever seen, specifically the Ole Miss Regional. We're joined by Jack DeLongchamp right off the top, the pencil talk master. Thrilled to have him. He's out taking the word of college baseball to the good people of America, doing the Lord's work for 11.7 in D1 baseball and calling some games. The man does it all. He's everywhere. Jack, how are we doing today?
Well, I should first and foremost say I'm sorry. I mean, what a freaking regional. And we're excited because for the just 10th time in the history of the college baseball tournament, a 4 seed has won a regional, but it does come at the dismay to your Rebels. So life is good, though, man. It's the best time of the year.
Yeah, for it, no doubt about it. I did go to the Ole Miss Regional Saturday and Sunday. People are saying Ole Miss was 3-0 at the games I went to and 0-2 at the games I wasn't at. So I don't know. People are saying maybe that was the reason they lost 12-11. An absolute heartbreaker to Murray State yesterday. Jack, I got to be honest, man. I've been a college baseball fan a long time. That was the wildest regional I've ever seen. Like, They started out putting the over-unders at like 11 or 12, and by the time the Monday game hit, it was 17. Every game went over. I mean, Swayze was playing small. The wind was blowing out. Those games got freaking buck wild. It was insane. The game yesterday, Murray State up 12-3. Ole Miss fights all the way back to 12-11 in the bottom of the eighth off a 3-run homer by Randall. And they had first and second with one out with Will Furness up, and then he struck out, and then Judd Utermark came up. He got hit on the elbow on a curveball, kind of leaned in. It was a bang-bang call. They said he leaned in and called it a strike. I'm not complaining about the call. I think it was close, but, I mean, I don't think it was, like, egregious. He strikes out, and then Murray goes 1-2-3 in the ninth to break the Rebel hearts. And it was a familiar scene for Rebel fans. It's going back to 2001. Bianco's had so many great teams with heartbreaking regional losses, but I will say hurt a lot less after 2022 in the national championship because, we'll always have that.
I got a ring. Yeah, no, you feel for that group especially too. Like watching them really come together, being down in Hoover for the SEC tournament. You watched a group with such incredible buy-in go, uh-oh. Like maybe they've kind of got the juice. They've got the sauce to make a run in the postseason, and obviously it comes to a quick halt. I still think it has more to do with our sport and the direction it's heading. Like if you had a problem with March Madness and the new college football playoff because it's just gone chalkity chalk, well, come and hang out in the college baseball world. I think that this loss has far more to do with the depth and the parity of talent across the college baseball landscape than I do think it has repercussions about an Ole Miss. Like, are we going to call out the fact that for the first time in 45 years, the number 1 and number 2 overall national seeds don't advance out of their own regional with Vanderbilt and Texas getting beat as well? Like, you're just seeing really talented mid-major teams go toe-to-toe with some of the biggest names and brands in the sport and go, we don't give a damn. And I think it was really cool to see a school like Murray State go into one of the most raucous environments that is Swayze and not only just go toe-to-toe with them, but now get the opportunity to move on into Omaha as well.
No, I don't have any hate toward Murray State. I think it's an unbelievable story, and that team can hit the cover off the baseball. I mean, the amount of runs they scored in that regional, it was 9 Friday, beat Georgia Tech 13-11 Saturday. Ole Miss destroyed them Sunday when they were throwing them back into their pitching staff, and then they scored 12 runs on Monday. I mean, this team hits the cover off the baseball. And in the Missouri Valley, I mean, every year it seems like they get a team through a regional. Going back to Dallas Baptist and the Oral Roberts Omaha run. I mean, that Missouri Valley seems like it's a tough out in tourney every year. Definitely heartbroken for Ole Miss. I had a blast in Oxford, though. I'll say that. I actually did my birthday there Saturday, and Saturday and Sunday. The 2 o'clock game against Georgia Tech was a heart-stopping, instant classic, 11-9 win with Ole Miss leaving the bases loaded in the ninth for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech left them loaded in the ninth. Awesome game. Great time. The 12,000 people, the atmosphere couldn't have been better. Just obviously hate the ending. Quick Barstool thing. Barstool After Dark tonight. We're running the 3-man weave We got to get 50 layups in a row without the ball ever touching the ground. I got to make the 10th layup. A girl has to make a layup. The 30th one's got to be in a wheelchair. The 40th one has to be an alley-oop. And Rico Bosco has to make the 50th one. So I'm mentally prepared to be here all night is basically what I'm saying. So that's going to start tonight at 7. But check out Barstool After Dark. That'll be really fun. Those streams have been great lately. This one brought to you by DraftKings. So should be a good time. A lot of stuff to get into over the weekend. First, I'm kind of going to run regional by regional. Touch it. The Miami Hurricanes, maybe the last team in the field, 31-24, lost 6 out of 7 to end the year. All hell break loose in Hattiesburg. Southern Miss and Bama, the 1 and 2 seeds, both lost their first games. Miami wins a game 7. How surprised were you by that?
Nah, isn't this how this always works? The team that always is the last in that everyone's questioning why the hell they're even playing always makes a big run, whether it be Florida last year, your Rebs, Mississippi State in 21 and 22. Man, this Miami team, if you're not familiar, they got a young man by the name of Daniel Cuvée, just a sophomore, 20 years old. He's a bona fide superstar. Like, he is going to be a top 5, top 10 pick just in next year's draft. He hits bombs. But the rest of the offense has been where the question mark is. When they've gone on runs in ACC play, it's offensively they're really physical. They kind of are built like a high school, like all-region like team. Like, they've got like a bunch of former like all-state linebackers and tight ends littered throughout that lineup, if that makes sense. And then they got really great depth in the back-end bullpen. My guy Will Smith, who's the former mayor of Conway, South Carolina, when he spent close to 5 years, half a decade at Coastal. He now gets a chance to play ACC baseball. He gets to dogpile and go to a super just like his former school. So am I surprised that Southern Miss didn't get out? They were one of the hottest teams in baseball going into the NCAAs. I thought it was going to be Alabama, though. I was really impressed with Rob Vaughn's squad. So, yeah, the Caniac Canes getting out does surprise a little bit, but they are this talented. Like, on paper, this is a top 10 high school recruiting class. Like, their young guys have just grown up, and they're doing it at the right time.
Yeah, no doubt. And so the Nashville regional, Vandy, the first ever 1 seed to not make a regional final, which I actually thought was kind of a crazy stat because baseball's so random. They lose 3-2 to Louisville Saturday, and then they get knocked out by Wright State, who always fights in the tourney, by the way. Like Wright State, I remember Tennessee walked them off on that Grand Slam a few years ago. But that program, they seem to score, they seem to have a really underrated program. Louisville gets out of there. Vandy, the 1 seed, won the SEC tourney, was the hottest team down the stretch. They are gone. Miami at Louisville, all ACC super. Probably not what people had on their brackets.
Hell no. I didn't have it on my bingo card, and anyone who says they did is a liar. Man, that Vanderbilt team, just like Ole Miss, I guess playing deep into Hoover, did not benefit anybody going into the NCAA. So, man, you feel bad for Coach Corbin and that Vandy boys squad. I'm sure a lot of people don't, but I do. Trying to give you superstars to like latch onto as we go into Omaha. Zion Rose of Louisville.
Yeah, he's All-American.
Oh, buddy. He got superstar tattooed on his forehead. Man, this offense, they've got 8 guys hitting over 300. They were banged up on the mound, but the offense just kept him in games all season long. Dan McDonald, who was the first $1 million head coach in college baseball, like we kind of forget as the game has grown and the superstars in it are growing around it, you forget that Dan McDonald is a beast, dude. So, man, this Louisville team in a super, you understand that they're going to have the pedigree to go and compete, and you expect them to get to Omaha, especially in this favorable matchup. But, man, there's a storm of brewing down in Coral Gables. This Miami team feels frisky. That's going to be a really fun super, even though none of us expected it coming.
Yeah, no, I agree. That when Louisville favored in it, they've got the super regional odds up on DraftKings. Louisville is minus 160, Miami plus 130, so it kind of feels like it could go either way. All right, UCLA kind of just really handled business in that regional, beat Cal Irvine in the final. Like, not even really a ton to say on that. But I got to give them credit because I thought Irvine was going to challenge them in that regional. Irvine lost to Arizona State the first game and had to work out of the losers bracket. Ultimately, they made the regional final and got smoked. But they're matched up with one we got to talk about, and that's the UT San Antonio Roadrunners, who gave less than 0 Fs about going into Austin, Texas, their neighbor. They beat them midweek earlier this year, and they absolutely took it to the University of Texas. I mean, and Texas was number 2 seed, won the SEC regular season, And, man, UTSA won a thriller 8-7 Saturday and smoked them Sunday night. I mean, they own that regional. And bitter end for Coach Schloss his first year at Texas, considering they won the SEC regular season. Kind of one of those teams in baseball, we always talk about you got to peak at the right time. They peaked too early when they were 19-2, and they had to recover from Jared Spencer, their ace, blowing out a shoulder, and ultimately too much to overcome. I did think it was ironic, the University of Texas Omaha cleats incision that they showed, and then they got knocked out first round.
It's usually how that goes, right? 19-2, to your point, was the second fastest record in the SEC conference play. They do it in their first year in the conference. A lot of fond memories to look back on, but you're right, it's going to be bittersweet for that group. And you feel bad for that Texas squad, too. Guys like Jalen Flores and Rylan Galvan and Kimball Schuessler, who could have easily transferred with a new coach coming in. They decided to stay. They stuck together. They have one of the best regular seasons in school history. But Pat Hallmark, who's the 11.7 mid-major coach of the year, is a dog. Mintzy, I'm not sure if you saw his post-game presser. He was like, listen, I'm a hard ass. Like, I'm not easy to coach with. I'm not easy to play for. But he got really emotional. He's like, because I knew that we were capable of this. If you were to see their home facilities and their resources, you would scoff and laugh that this is one of the final 16 teams standing. But that's the beauty of this shit, right? He has gotten really creative in how he has gone out and recruited dudes to campus. There's a lot of pride in that Roadrunner community. And for a guy like Mason Lytle, who's a P4 transfer in, like, he's become a monster. And James Talsig. And these are the names that you're going to hear this weekend, and you're going to go, do a little bit of homework on their journey and how they got to this point. And how could you not root for this team? So you love how they gave no Fs walking into the dish. It's a team that is playing with a chip on their shoulder. I believe they're selling shirts that say Junkyard Dogs. Very fitting for a group that plays very much so on that brand.
Well, I would expect their facilities to get a lot better because UTSA's got a 40,000 person enrollment. And, it's the old winning is the deodorant for everything. I think you'll be able to raise – if there's one thing the University of Texas San Antonio loves, it's got to be beating UT because everybody in that, that's their brother school, and everyone in that state has to deal with UT and beating them. I would think the resources will be coming. They're matched up with UCLA in a super. How do you think their chances are out there?
Well, here's the name that you need to know for UCLA, Rock Chalowski, which might be the coolest name.
I was going to say, what a name.
Oh, it rocks, if you will. He rakes, he hits bombs. UCLA, it's cool for college baseball, too, when you get some of those, like, iconic brands on the West Coast to remind everyone, hey, by the way, we've been doing this for a long-ass time. Like, thanks for sticking with the program. UTSA is going to have their hands full. Their X factor is going to be this young man, Braylon Owens, who's got a breaking ball from hell. Can he stifle a really talented UCLA offense? That regional between they and UC Irvine was the battle of the Call brothers. Chase of UC Irvine, who had a fantastic season this year, and then his other brother, who's got another killer name, River. Like they're a really fun team. River plays a really clean shortstop. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
I'll say this: it's tough going out to Cali on the baseball. It's a different deal.
Yeah.
That's a long trip, and that West Coast baseball is always like a little bit of a different brand, and so that's a. UTSA is familiar with going to Austin. This is kind of a different deal.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Phoenix call, earlier, he's a shortstop that, like, he's kind of their catalyst at the top of the lineup. So to your point, Mintzy, like, going out to the West Coast, to have a guy in the leadoff spot for UCLA that is going to get on base early and often, Phoenix Call will, but then also, like, he can beat you deep too, like right off the top. I think it'll be important for UTSA where against Texas, they go down 5 or 6 runs and they just kind of stick around. UCLA, if they get out in front early, they can suffocate you and put you away early. So I think for UTSA, it'll be huge to get off to a good start fast.
All right, next regional to hit, the Fayetteville, Arkansas, when Arkansas dominated. They were one of the best teams in college baseball all year, especially with the Alloy brothers and the way they could hit this year. But I kind of thought they got a weak regional draw with Creighton and Kansas, but they were not tested at all. They ran right through it, and now they host Tennessee. I want to touch on that Tennessee regional. Tennessee got forced to a Game 7 against Wake Forest. Ultimately, took care of business. As always, some interesting scenes from Knoxville, Tennessee. That team, man, they under Vitello, there's controversy following everywhere, but I always say they're great for college baseball because they bring everyone's got an opinion on it. That was a wild scene with Andrew Fisher, Tennessee star hitter, jawing with Tom Morris, the Wake Forest coach, who said some stuff we're not going to repeat on here. And then Fisher just walks up, hits a homer, and just like runs around the bases celebrating. I mean, that was a wild scene yesterday.
Well, it's got to hurt a little bit because Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher, right?
Oh, it does hurt. The Ole Miss thing, especially when you look at the team Ole Miss had. If you'd had Doyle and Hunter, that 1-2, and then add Fisher to that lineup, I mean, Ole Miss is still playing for sure.
And they're just, you're right, what Tony Vitello has created in Knoxville, because this is not a tradition baseball program, right? Like, what he is doing is new for those fans. And, man, they are – to see Liam Doyle's reaction, he's now the single-season school strikeout record, and Andrew Fisher, who's sneakily having one of the best seasons in college baseball history. He's reached base safely in every single game. He's walked twice as many times as he struck out, and he swings hard as hell in every at-bat. That 1-2 homer he hit as he's in the middle of the at-bat firing up the fans at Lindsey Nelson. You're going, dude, this only happens in dreams and movies. And it was a tough draw for them, Wake Forest and Cincinnati. A bit of a bugaboo for a Tennessee team who has not fielded it at a really excellent clip. But guess what? They still got that sauce. They got that magic. They got the aura, as the kids say these days. And they're going to be a problem. A lot of people love Arkansas as they're like, DraftKings got them as the number one favorites to win this damn thing.
LSU plus, okay, I've got it right in front of me. LSU plus 330, Arkansas plus 380, Tennessee 5-1. So wild to have those two teams second and third, considering one of them ain't going to be making Omaha. This Tennessee Arkansas Super is the headliner of the weekend. I mean, this is an absolutely iconic matchup. Vitello, former Arkansas top assistant under Van Horn. You got Doyle going for Tennessee, so you got to feel like good about that game. I feel like you got a 3-game super here coming that could go either way, and one fan base is going to be sick. They're not making Omaha. You could not have a better matchup here.
It's so funny, man, as I'm tossing and turning in bed tonight, like trying to figure out where the heck I'm going to go flops on the ground this weekend. This does feel like the matchup, right? Like this could be a national championship series.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Right? If Tennessee doesn't slip in the second half, they're both national seeds, and this matchup isn't happening. Arkansas fans are probably like, oh, congrats on an awesome year. Like, here are the reigning champs in a super with just even a chance to get to Omaha. But that might be the biggest storyline, though. The fact that Tony Vitello, a once Arkansas recruiting coordinator, coached under Dave Van Horn, he gets the mentor, the mentee gets the natty before the mentor. Now Dave Van Horn is looking to be the 8th SEC school to win the 8th championship in a row from 8 different programs, right? If an SEC program is able to do it this year, that's what's at stake. He's looking for his first ever, even though they've been a college baseball blue blood. The only thing evading them is a national championship ring. Well, here come the bad boys from Knoxville to try to ruin and spoil everything. So Zach Root of Arkansas, he's a funky lefty up to 97 on Friday nights. That matchup with Liam Doyle is going to be must-watch television. So, how cool was that too, Mintzy? We haven't even talked about that. Liam Doyle's staged to make a ton of money in a month in the draft, right? He just threw 3 days prior, and on, 1.5 day rest, he comes back and throws last night. Like, you tell me that NIL and the landscape and all that crap, you don't think that guy doesn't love playing with that brand across his chest, which I know probably hurts Ole Miss fans even more.
You gotta respect it though, and then plus I know what happened with Doyle and Fisher. Like Tennessee, both of them thought they were going back to Ole Miss, and Tennessee came in with Tennessee like doubled their Ole Miss offer. Like they both got bags of money. Like I don't even blame them when I heard like what actually happened. I mean, Tennessee is paying those guys a freaking ton of money to play college baseball, and I mean I understand. It's a business. If I were those guys, I can't. You get offered the amount of money those guys got to go play for the national champion. I mean, you can't, you got to realize it's a business, and you can't take it personally. Doyle probably won't. He's probably game 2 since he pitched Friday and Monday, I would think.
Yeah, it'll probably be Marcus Phillips on Friday for Tennessee against Zach Root then, which will be.
That's going to be a lot of pressure on Arkansas to win that game with Doyle pending in game 2. That's a lot of pressure. Arkansas is in a total must-win in game 1. Because, if you force game 3, it's just you don't want to be in a down 1-0 facing Liam Doyle. I mean, that's a situation that can't happen. Next up, Auburn. Got to give Auburn credit. They ran right through that regional, smoked Stetson Saturday, hammered NC State in the regional final. Really weren't tested that much. Not even really a ton to say there, but Auburn had a great season. They were the number 4 national seed. They swept LSU, made that big run to the top 10. They hit really hard on 2 starters in the transfer portal because they're going into the year. Everybody knew they could hit, but the pitching was a question mark. And Butch Thompson, Auburn won like 6 SEC games last year. Now here they are, hosted a super regional against Coastal Carolina. And Coastal ran right through their regional. A lot of people, including me, thought Florida was going to be way more of a problem. They got smoked by East Carolina twice. That was an interesting scene with Kevin O'Sullivan going off on the Coastal Carolina, whoever, staffer, for when they moved the game back an hour. I thought it came off extremely entitled. But Coastal Carolina, man, there's kind of like, even though they were hosting that regional, Florida was favored to win the regional going in. And, Coastal had an unbelievable season in the Sun Belt, and I feel like people are still kind of sleeping on them.
Without question. And the staffer that you're talking about is the guy that won a national championship in 2016, Gary Gilmore. So Coach Gilmore.
Oh, I didn't realize it was Gilmore he went off on. Wow.
Gary Gilmore, dude. So he was their on-site rep, first year that he hasn't been, the head coach of that school. Kevin Schnall has done a spectacular job in the first season, right? Like, they always make the joke about how you never want to be the next guy. Well, he has been, and he's taking this program back to new heights. So, but the altercation scene you're talking about is it's weird. It's a really weird move. I'm not really sure the fallout of it all. I know that they issued an apology, but it's still a bizarre scene. As a college baseball guy that does a lot of content, it's been great for the engagement and the numbers for everybody involved because people are starting to pay a lot of attention. Unfortunately, that means for Florida some negative PR, but still think there's a lot of things that need to come unfold because you're right. It feels like a pretty easy judgment to make based off of everything that we've heard and have seen. But what we do know for sure is Coastal Carolina is for real, y'all. The number 1 ERA in the country. Guys like Cam Fluke and Jacob Morrison on the weekend who are putting up nationally prolific numbers with 94, 96 fastballs and filthy as hell breaking balls. Like, they're very consistent on the weekend, and that's why it stages kind of a scary matchup for an Auburn team that with the likes of Ike Irish and Cooper McMurray, they have big league ready bats against some big league ready Coastal Carolina starting pitching. So it's going to be best on best firepower with big time arms and big time power in the box as well. So kudos to Auburn, man. They poured a ton of money into Plainsman Park. They are seeing the ROI on their investment almost immediately, and you got to be really fired up for Coach Butch and really all of Auburn that they're going to get to host a super with a chance to get back to Omaha for the first time in close to half a decade.
Really close line on this super. Auburn minus 145, Coastal plus 115. Shows you how much respect there is for Coastal's pitching staff. It's interesting to me about Coastal. You think about all their great teams through the years. It was always because they outslug people. They've never had a staff like this. This is a different team this year.
Shout out Matt Williams. He's their pitching coach, first-year pitching coach. It was the first hire Kevin Schnall made. He was actually at South Carolina last year. They shuffle the coaching staff up in Columbia. They obviously bring in Paul Maneri. So all those assistants kind of go do their own thing as well. Matt Williams finds a home in Conway, and he has helped orchestrate, to your point, a rotation that was not bona fide, right? Like in 16, they won that World Series because they actually led the country in home runs and sacrificed bunts. They are uber offensive, but have never been elite on the mound. They are more than that this year. So kudos to Matt Williams for getting those arms right.
Moving on to North Carolina, got to give Oklahoma credit for forcing a Game 7. Ultimately, that regional, Oklahoma all year, man, when those Witherspoon brothers pitched, they were tough, but then when they weren't in there, they weren't an elite team, and they just kind of ran out of pitching, I thought, and Carolina hammers them 14-4. Carolina, who many people thought should have been a top 4 seed, now hosts Arizona, who won the regional out in Eugene, Oregon. Some stuff on that one, really controversial play at the plate on Friday night between Oregon and Utah Valley, where the Oregon guy, had a collision with the catcher that would have tied the game, I believe, and was called out, and the runners had to go back, and then Oregon lost, and then they got knocked out the next day by Cal Poly. I was kind of on the Oregon's a little fraudulent thing, so I wasn't shocked Arizona won. An Arizona program that has so much tradition, and now they move on to go to Carolina in the Super. Tough spot for Arizona. Cross-country trip here, playing a Carolina team with a ton of experience. It's off an Omaha run. I got to think Carolina's a pretty solid favorite here.
Yeah, I got to imagine DK's probably got it close to minus 200. That's probably where they have sat all year long. I think I actually got them at the beginning of the season. North Carolina like 18-1, so I wouldn't be
nice.
surprised.
They're 7-1 right now. They're the number 4 favorite, and they should be, I think.
Yeah, they're really good. I sent your boy Big Cat a bunch of futures at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure he's riding them with me, but North Carolina was one that I was like, if an ACC team can finally trump the SEC after this run of dominance over the last 7 years, North Carolina to me is one of the most talented, deep rosters in all of baseball. But the biggest surprise has been on Friday is Jake Knapp for them. Ace, like bona fide ace. His shit is gross. And that backed up just the young 19-year-old sophomore Jason DeCaro, which alleviates a little bit of pressure off of him for not having to be that boys Friday night guy. He can still be the fiery youngster. So North Carolina to me is a really sexy and attractive pick here, but cannot dismiss what Arizona's done. Won a Big 12 tournament championship. They go into Eugene, which was a very hostile environment, especially after that play at the plate, and they take care of business with just really ease. So, I wouldn't be so quick to count them out. Did you by any chance see the home runs hit off the foul poles in the tournament too? So for the first time in baseball history, like I know my guys over at 643 did the probability and like the crazy homework on it. They go back-to-back home runs, y'all. One off the left field foul pole, and then the very next batter, one off the right field foul pole.
Wow.
First time in baseball history it's ever happened. So they've got weird magic in the air. So that's why I'm hesitant to bet against the Cats. So
yeah, I'll say this too. I think there's a lot to be said for like a super like this. A team like Arizona, you got a program that expects to be there, that's made it to Omaha. It's different than like some first-time team making a super. Like I don't think the moment will be too big for them. So I think North Carolina wins it, but I don't think it's like last year Carolina. They beat LSU in a really tough 3-gamer last year, but I think that should be good. That LSU regional, got to say the story, even though they didn't win it, the Little Rock Trojans, unbelievable story. I mean, a team won like 19 games this year. They lose 7-0 to Anthony Ianson on Friday, and they fight all the way back. They scored 22 runs against Rhode Island. Sunday, I freaked out, Jack. First time I freaked out on Little Rock was plus 900 against Dallas Baptist. I was like, there's just no way a CUSA team can be 12-1 to win a baseball game, or 1-12. And I hit that Little Rock plus 900 hard. Oh yeah, I hit that hard on Sunday. That was a big play. I just thought they should have been like plus 400. I just couldn't believe the line. They fight back, and then they take it to LSU on Sunday night. They force a Game 7, and they got up 5-1 in the Game 7, and then Kason Evans came out the bullpen for LSU, struck out 9 straight guys. Phenomenal effort by him to stabilize it. And then Ethan Fry for LSU just went absolutely nuclear in that game last night. He had like 4 hits with 2 doubles, a homer. And LSU, Hernandez, a catcher, hit 2, and they ultimately pulled away and won 10-6. But props to Little Rock. I mean, they've made LSU work for it. They made them earn it. LSU had to put Anthony Ianson in the 8th and 9th inning. And I thought Little Rock, even though they didn't win, one of the stories of the tournament, that run.
It probably would have gone down as the largest upset in college baseball postseason history. Like, I truly believe that. You're talking about a team that won 19 regular season games in the OVC. 19. They didn't even win 20 games.
They won a coin flip to get the A spot in the conference tournament.
Crazy. Like, this, you're watching them last night on Monday night and on national television going, they're really good. And the arms they brought out were nasty, like up to 94 out of the pen with multiple dudes. Like, this did not look like a 19-win team. So you're like, how the hell did they even get to this spot? So for LSU, they get everything that they asked for. Everyone in the world goes, oh, man, what an easy regional for LSU with 3 mid-majors. Little old Trojans come in and push them right to the brink. For LSU to get a guy like Kason Evans, who's just a freshman, which is crazy because he's a freshman throwing 96, but he also has like the best beard to flow combo in the country. Like, gorgeous dude, like just EQ as shit. and he's going to shove on ESPN2. He's their future Friday night guy. So you get young guys to step up. That's exactly what it takes to win this time of the year. You feel for Arkansas Little Rock. You fear for my wallet because Mintzy, I actually had him 11-1 last night. Just because.
I did. I took them last night too, and they're up 5-1. I got a little excited.
Had to.
I mean, the one we missed was it was hard. Sometimes the lines were going up quick on Sunday because it was between games. We missed them 14-1 Sunday night. They were plus 14-44, I think, on Sunday night in the game they beat LSU. That was the one we missed. I'm so mad, but it's like those regionals. There's 30 minutes between games, and so it's a real tight window. And I was at the Ole Miss game and just like missed it going up, and I was that was the one to have. But great story. I still look LSU's plus 330. I still love where LSU's sitting. I mean, you got Cade Anderson and Ians the best 1-2 in college baseball easily. Evans, stepping up. And then, all year it's been interesting when you look at LSU. The bats have gone cold on the road some, but, man, it ain't for a lack of talent. I mean, Derek Curiel and Dickinson, the second baseman, and then you got Ethan Fry stepping up. And I know Bear Jones kind of has been cold, but he finally broke out last night. And then you got Monster Milam, and then Hernandez, the catcher, at 2 bombs. They got plenty of freaking talent in that lineup. I kind of feel like they've maybe underachieved hitting the ball a little bit. But, they got West Virginia coming in a super. They're just so designed to win a 2 out of 3 super with Anderson and Ianson. I mean, I don't know. I think of all these teams in the field. I mean, I know LSU's the favorite, but just having that 1-2 pitching combo, they're going to be hard to beat.
They're almost unbeatable when those two guys are on the mound. Like, truthfully. And then there's Sunday guys, this kid named Chase Shores who threw 100 miles per hour in Hoover in one outing, I think 33 times, hit 102 like 6 times. Like, you're like, that's your third guy? What the hell's going on here? And at the end of the day, Jay Johnson is one of the best coaches in baseball. He's an X factor to have that calm, cooling presence who is studying his tail off, just like all these coaches are. But, man, he really is a weapon in himself too. So LSU's a monster, and not to be trifled with, you're sure. But I love the team that's coming to play him, though, man.
Yeah. Talk about that regional. Clemson was the 11 seed and got knocked out. Didn't make the regional final. That West Virginia-Kentucky game, the Sunday game, they won 13-12, was just, bananas. One of the wilder games of the tournament. And, West Virginia started 31-4. Last year had a super regional run. Their coach retired. They lost a, high first-round pick in J.J. Weatherholt. And you would think they would fall off after losing their coach and their, high first-round pick. But had a great season in the Big 12. And, now here they are in a super regional.
I know our mutual friend and our guy, Ben Upton, lives by the theory, the hot, cold, hot concept, right? So you talked about Texas kind of like peaking too early in the year. West Virginia is a team that got off to a blistering start. You said 31-4, and then 2-9 on the way out. Was not a great end of the season for the Mountaineers. Decent showing in the Big 12 tournament, but what's funny about that score that you mentioned, it's a bit deceiving to who they are as an offensive identity. This West Virginia team goes station to station. They bunt a ton, they slash a ton, they hit and run a ton. It's a really fun style of baseball. And I say that because the way that they play, it keeps them in every single game that they're a part of, right? Play really awesome defense. They're going to find a way to get runners on, and they're going to get them in. That's why, to me, when you look at West Virginia heading to the box, they're not going to play scared. They're going to go and play who they are, which is small ball baseball. Get them on, get them over, get them in. It's a really fun group. Jack Cartzenad, who's got maybe the best handlebar mustache we've ever seen, will be their back-end guy that America's about to fall in love with. I'm telling you, it's elite. He could be a firefighter tomorrow, and it made sense with that facial hair. So it's a fun group.
Yeah, no, that'll be a wild super regional down at the box. And next one to touch on was the Athens regional. And I'll say this, I feel vindicated on something because I had a take all year before the year that I thought Georgia was fraudulent. And, they had great hitting, but I thought they were designed weird because they don't have elite pitching, and they were struggling when they played elite guys on Friday night. And I felt like I ended up being justified. Oklahoma State beat them with a walk-off 2-run shot on Sunday. They didn't make the regional final. But give credit to the Duke Blue Devils. Coach Pollard's done unbelievable job through the years. They're kind of one of the unsung hero teams of college baseball. You know, the basketball program overshadows them. Last year they won the ACC tourney, and they got kind of screwed out of hosting a regional, and they didn't do well in the tourney. And this year they're 2 seed, and they run right through this regional. And all of a sudden, if you're a Duke fan, I mean, you're hosting, you know, the New Americas team, Murray State, at home, but like Duke is staring at a great shot to get to Omaha here.
You're right. No, this is an unsung program, right? Like, no, make no mistake about it. They get it. It's a basketball school. But to put into perspective, Chris Pollard, who's their head coach, who I've gotten really close with over the years, he's a dog, right? Like, we talked about junkyard dogs earlier. Like, they run a very blue-collar mentality for this baseball team, which is kind of contradicts the outside perspective of the school as a whole. That's exactly what he wants, right? He wants to defy all odds. So for him, who's already Chris Pollard, the winningest head coach in Duke baseball history, right? Like, that kind of puts their tradition past to rest a little bit. Like, this is now their new standard. They rebuilt that stadium. They put in turf. They're trying to create a real game day environment. So for them to be able to host their first Super, for a chance to go to Omaha for the first time in school history, this is a really big deal for Durham, North Carolina. They got a team that they can really be proud of. This has been building over the last 4 years. In 23, it was rumored that Chris Pollard was going to take the Miami baseball job. He was their number one guy. He went back to Duke. The athletic director and the athletic board got enough money, founded it, but more so made promises to Coach Pollard that said, hey, we're going to do everything that you need to make this a not only a relative college baseball name, but to be one of the very best in the land. So their mantra since that 23 year when he didn't take that job was, we're knocking down the door. We're just knocking down the door. Well, in their post-game presser after beating Georgia and Oklahoma State this week, and he goes, we're about to kick this damn thing in. So this is a school that is fired up to be here. They're fired up to host this damn thing. They've got a bunch of veterans, some 6-year Ivy League transfers, a guy like Ben Miller, who's got a ton of jacks, plays an awesome third base. He's a little bit banged up going into it, but it's a group that loves playing together. And to me, if they can get to Omaha, I know Murray State's America's team, but Duke is with kind of, without being disrespectful, like they're an unsung hero as well. Like, this would be a Cinderella run like no one saw coming. So fired up for Blue Devil Nation.
Yeah, then we kind of touched on the Ole Miss Murray State craziness of that regional. Man, just the Murray State hitting. I mean, you just get this, their approaches at the plate. I mean, those guys, I don't know how you can hit any more than they did in that regional. I mean, they you know, they've got the pitching staff doesn't have like their, you know, G5 team, and they have a pretty good frontline starter, and then that last closer that pitched is pretty good. But, like, I mean, they put a lot of pressure on their offense, you know, and I mean, to score, like I said, 9. I mean, the amount of runs they scored in that regional, and just how hard they were to get out. And, you know, in a way, I mean, I'm obviously crushed Ole Miss lost, but I really like that Murray squad. I mean, the scene in the dugout Saturday after they beat Georgia Tech, they never won an NCAA tournament game before. I mean, you kind of you talked about the 4-seed story. I mean, you got to pull for them. Like, you know, even though they beat Ole Miss, I'd love to see them make Omaha. I think it'd be great.
10th ever 4-seed to get out of a regional. Like, that feels – it's a weird stat, right? Just like the number one national seed to have never lost in a regional in this sport feels hard to believe. So there's such an easy team to cheer for, and I still cannot believe – like, I don't know if I'll believe it until I see Murray State on the field this weekend that they were able to hold on the way they did. 13-12 and Ole Miss with all the momentum in the world. It just felt like they were going to be able to pull off one of the greatest comebacks in regional history. So they do not, and now Murray State is racing to a super regional.
Man, crazy, absolutely crazy. So Murray State and Duke, that's definitely probably the most unlikely super regional matchup. Let me see. Duke's a solid 380 favorite. I mean, Murray State never got any respects on the lines. I mean, they were huge underdog at all 4 games they won in that regional. Murray State plus 290. I mean, I feel like Duke's going to win, but I mean, that's still, I don't think I'd argue with anybody that took a shot at them at 3-1 with the way they hit.
Yeah, I would take it on a game by game perspective. They moved the fences in last year, so whatever the hell the over is day to day.
You got just Murray State overs in general, man. I mean, it was interesting in that Ole Miss regional watching them. Like, the over under was like 11.5 for Friday night, and then by the last game of the regional final, it was up to 17 because every game I was just betting the over every game. I mean, it was just like it went to like 13 and a half, then 14 and a half to 15. It was like doesn't matter. Just I mean, just and then finally, last couple of regionals to mention. Got to give credit to Oregon State because they lost to St. Mary's, a 4 seed Friday night, and the way they responded, I mean, they came back and just cooked everybody, beat USC 9-0 in that regional final. You got a program with a ton of tradition. You know, it's to lose Friday night and come back takes a lot to win 4 in a row, and now got to be the longest cross country trip ever for Super Regional. Florida State flying from Tallahassee up to Northwest Corvallis, Oregon. That's a different culture, different way of life, a lot of stuff, but fascinating Super Regional matchup here.
It is. I know that to me, it's right. Tennessee and Arkansas is probably going to be the most exciting Super. This one might have the most future big leaguers. Like, these are star-studded lineups. For me, Oregon State, it all starts and stops with their no-shit shortstop, Abe Arquette. He is 6'6", long, wiry, rangy, strong, really aesthetically pleasing, like bat-to-ball skills in the box. He's a dog in that Oregon State lineup. So, like, he is a future all-star year big leaguer. And then for Florida State, when you look at what the Lodis cousins have done all year, Florida State's a team that almost feels like it's flying under the radar because the ACC having a bit of a down year. And now in the tournament, the ACC is just flexing all over the SEC. And Florida State with Jamie Arnold, their big unicorn of a lefty on Friday nights, they have the scariest guy in America. I know I like Cade Anderson and Anthony Idson as the best 1-2 punch, but I'm not sure anybody strikes fear in opposing offenses like Jamie Arnold does for Florida State. So, it is a fascinating Super in the sense that it feels like there could be the most big leaguers on both of these rosters out of any Super. Goss Stadium. How about 1907? Established in 1907.
Wow.
It's the oldest ballpark in America with some crazy-ass fans. It should make for a very hostile environment. And this is my Ben and Jerry Super Regional, Mintz. I know that you're in crazy good shape and you're not eating bad anymore. I love a late-night ice cream. This is going to be like, I get baseball till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I love the late night. I love the late night, too. I absolutely love when they stagger it and there's good late night baseball. And, man, this is just a fascinating Super Regional. And then the winner of this is matched up with the Miami-Louisville Super in Omaha. And so, I mean, I feel like there's a chance you could argue the winner of this regional has a chance to make a deep run in Omaha, too.
Yeah, I like that side of the bracket, too, especially when you get into Omaha. It's a little bit more favorable on the left side versus the right. I love Dan McDonald's experience here. That offense is really scary. A kid in Tag Davis that is just a freshman and at one point in the season had more extra base hits than singles. Like, they rake, and they're a relentless offense. The ballpark plays to that. So I like Louisville there. The magical run of Miami, give me Will Smith, the fireman out of the back end. If their bullpen can slow and stifle the Louisville bats, then why the hell not? Give me the Caniac Canes as well. So, but I'm with you. Whoever gets into Omaha is going to feel like they're playing with house money a little bit. Like, we weren't supposed to be here. Nobody bet on us to be here. We kept our receipts. Let's just go have some fun. So, to your point, I love them to maybe even push into a College World Series final, whoever wins this matchup.
I'm looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook odds right now to win it. LSU plus 330, Arkansas 380, Tennessee 5-1, North Carolina 7-1, Auburn 10-1. But I don't want to ask about the favorites because that's boring. Of the long shots, let's touch on the back half of it. Starting with UCLA 17-1, Duke 20-1, Louisville 25-1, Arizona 35-1, the Miami 35-1, UTSA 35-1, West Virginia 60-1, and Murray State, the little engine that could, at 120-1. Do you have any particular long shots you think has a shot at this thing?
Duke would be my pick. I really like Duke. I think they have a really interesting blend where they're such a strong group that they can beat you like they did in Athens with the long ball, but they also have the ability to beat you gap to gap too. They're a real matchup nightmare as well. Like, if you want to get nerdy on you, they only have 2 right-handed pitchers on their entire depth chart. The rest of them are lefties. and 4 of them that played for Team USA and were Cape Cod guys and All-American type status. They're a really uncomfortable matchup. They're unorthodox with the way that they throw. To me, 20-1 is a really attractive number, especially with I say favorable, but to have Murray State at home, you lose there, Duke fans are going to be devastated. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. So to me, and then once you get to Omaha, sometimes the team that's never been there before, right, that are just, they're just happy to be here. In Charles Schwab Field, they're just happy to be here. Those teams are playing with nothing to lose. I think that's a really dangerous team to make a run.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you don't know where you're headed yet this weekend?
I don't know. You want to pick for me?
I mean, I would like to see you go to Corvallis. I know it's a long trip, but I think that one. I mean, Tennessee, Arkansas is the obvious one with how wild it's going to be in the hog pen at Baum Walker. But man, that Florida State, Oregon State, you mentioned it. Like, that's just such a. Tennessee, Arkansas, as great as it is, those guys play in the SEC. Right. That Florida State, Oregon State, like, that's not a matchup you're going to see often. There's a ton of big league talent. That ballpark, you mentioned. I think that late night of the West Coast, to me, that's the one I'd like to see you go to.
I've got that one pinned big time, dude. The powers that be, I'm not sure with my guys over at D1, we have even anyone going to Baton Rouge. So LSU, West Virginia is where they're thinking about sending me. But Fayetteville, LSU would be awesome. Corvallis, I think, would just be a bucket list. And then Durham's probably the easiest from a travel standpoint to get to see North Carolina and Duke in the same weekend.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense to be able to do two. I mean, they haven't come out with the schedule yet. I thought it would already be out because they usually do 4 starting Friday, 4 starting Saturday. They stagger it, which, by the way, we need to have a talk. It's time for the NCAA baseball tourney to stagger the regionals and do half of them Thursday to Sunday and half of them Friday to Monday. Because the Friday, it's unbelievable the Friday through Sunday when there's a million games, but you have so many games. Why not seize it and have 5 full days and make more money than do 4? I'll
tell you, because they're not putting all of them on national television, which is garbage.
I know, but like they should do 8 Thursday to Sunday and 8 Friday to Monday, and it would be like, I mean, why not? It's just more day. It's another day of baseball.
And it's a no-brainer. Like, they're already doing it in basketball. Why the hell would we not do it in baseball and put as many eyeballs on it as possible? It's a no-brainer.
No, I agree. And I know a lot of it probably has to do with the conference tournaments the week before, guys getting rest. But whatever, man. When it comes to the tournament, figure it out. I don't know. It's America. Cool. Let's make some more money. Well, awesome, man. Well, Jack, always great to catch up with you. Love what you do. You manage and work doing D1 baseball and 11.7, and you call games. I mean, you're the man that's literally everywhere.
Yeah, no, we was it jack of all trade, master of none. We're trying to master some stuff now, but I always appreciate coming on, man. Dude, congratulations to you on your fitness journey. Fired up for you, and I think you're actually staged to crush tonight. I saw Tate's tweet. I'm a big time listener and watcher and viewer of everything and all things Barstool. So I think with you running as much as you are, I think you're going to be a weapon in the 3-man weave tonight.
I think I'm going to be all right. I have to make the 10th layup, but like I can make layups. That's not too concerning. So I think we're going to be all right. I kind of, I'm just hoping I'm not here all night, but we'll see. But tune in to Still After Dark tonight for the 3-man weave stream sponsored by DraftKings. As always, shout out to our friends at Dude Wipes. Find them at Amazon, Target, Walmart, all over the World Wide Web. One use Dude Wipes, and you're going to be a new man. It's the best product. And I'm still drinking Stella Blue iced coffees at 4:30 p.m. or 4:45 p.m. in the afternoon because I'm going to have to drink a lot of coffee to get through the stream tonight. And, yeah, man. Well, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Shout out Moody, as always, holding the fort down. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.